Hi, sir and everyone. My name is Zhang Chen Kan, and my numeric is 285511. We are the Group 7s, and we are ready to start our presentation today. Before we start, I would like to introduce my group member, Nihong, Tan Xingyuan, Alisa, and then Duru Ai, and let's see our topic today. Group 7s has chosen the topic Benefit and advantage of activity-based costing. We are going to present on this topic today. From the beginning, I would like to share some information about activity-based costing history first, and the definition on ABC. Activity-based costings was created in 1975 years by Dr. Robert Kaplan. ABC was popularized in the late 1980 years to early 1990 years. Okay, activity-based costings, and what is the definition of activity-based costings? Activity-based costings is a costing method that identifies the activity in an organization, and ABC will assign the cost of its activity to all products and services based on the actual consumption of its activity. In other words, the costs are charged to the products based on individual products' use of its activity. According to Cooper and Kaplan's, activity-based costing is also defined as an advanced cost calculation technique that enables resources and overhead costs to be more accurately assigned to the products and the service that consume them. In addition, ABC allocated more indirect costs, that is overheads, to direct costs compared to traditional costing.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Ain binti Omar. My metric number is 288712. I will presenting the advantage of activity-based costing. The first advantage is able to provide realistic and more accurate production cost for specific item. Activity-based costing give manager more accurate production costs. This can help business to make more accurate decisions about the product they want to produce and cheaper production method, and also make it easier to determine the price for a product. The next advantage is it allows to evaluate the efficiency of product and make improvement. With the activity-based costing, manager can evaluate process efficiency and make improvement in developing better quality product. This method allows manager to set value from indirect cost to direct cost. Besides that, it can determine product profit margin more accurate. Activity-based costing account for non-manufacturing costs or indirect costs. It can help increase a profit margin. Have a more accurate profit margin to help business leader make important decisions. Which an effective pricing strategy can further increase their profit margin. Manager can identify products that have little or no value easily when using activity-based costing. So, they can change product and rearrange them to more profitable items. It also made it easier to identify products that can be worse when it involves the required resources. Next, it allows to assign specific overhead costs to more expensive products. By using activity-based costing, we can give the same value to all products. You can allocate the required budget well. When producing a product, we need a good strategy so that the business does not increase losses. So, this activity-based costing can help identify the cost required on a manufacturing product that can make a valuable resource. The activity-based costing traces cost to area of managerial responsibility, processes, customer department beside the product cost. Lastly, activity-based Activity-based costing provides insight for the analysis of customer profitability, distribution channel, brand, region, and other areas that directly affect the profitability of a firm. Because activity-based costing the performance of particular activity on the organization resources consumed, and activity-based costing create opportunity for a product designer to reduce the cost of a product.
As we can see, the first disadvantage is that the business that use activity-based costing might need a lot of time to collect data. Collection and preparation of data is time-consuming. Why? It is because you cannot easily access the data that you need to calculate activity costs. You will need to do some digging and use up precious labor or machine hours to find the necessary data. Another reason is because such data is not always readily available from normal accounting reports. Second, activity-based costing is not always effective. Some businesses by nature have low overhead costs, like writing agency for example. These types of businesses might find more efficiencies in using traditional costing methods than ABC, and in these cases, the costs incurred to collect and interpret data for activity-based costing are not worth the return. Additionally, activity-based costing costs more to accumulate and analyze information because collecting and analyzing information has its own costs. While trying to save costs through the activity-based costing method, you might actually achieve the opposite. The time and labor it takes to collect and analyze the data required for this method could result in additional costs for the businesses. Besides that, adaptability of ABC system is not suitable for all kind of companies. Why? It is because small companies have not many resources to adapt it and have too many activities but the transactions is too low. Also, it may not be useful for companies where overhead is small in proportion to total operating costs. Last but not least, ABC system can easily misinterpret and lead towards wrong decisions because data produced by ABC may conflict with managerial performance standards previously established from traditional costing methods. In this case, the company should use the data produced through the ABC system with extreme care and should assign the costs that are relevant to the products, customers, and should not consider the other cost objects that are irrelevant.
Hi student everyone, I am Nihong and I'm going to discuss about activity-based costing versus traditional costing. Activity-based costing assigns both types of costs to products, which are most but not all the manufacturing costs and some of the non-manufacturing costs, while traditional costing assigns only one type of cost to products, which is all of manufacturing costs. Traditional costing and activity-based costing are identical in the way that they trace direct cost to a cost object, but differ in the way that they allocate indirect cost to a cost object. Activity-based costing uses more cost pools comparing to the traditional costing. Each activity-based costing cost pool has its own unique measure of activity. Under activity-based costing, cost centers are not used as cost pools to allocate indirect costs. Cost centers include service departments, which provide internal services to other two departments, and production departments, which directly participate in the production process. Instead, activities are used as cost pools. Indirect costs are first accumulated in activity cost pools and then allocated to products using activity cost driver rates according to the product's requirements for different activities. On the flip side, traditional cost systems usually rely on volume measures such as direct labor hours or machine hours to allocate all overhead costs to products. For the traditional costing, indirect costs are first assigned to cost centers. The costs accumulated in service departments are then reallocated to production departments using the direct method, step-down method, or reciprocal method. By this time, the indirect costs accumulated in production departments includes the department's own indirect costs and any indirect costs received from service departments. These indirect costs are then allocated to products by using the allocation rate. Furthermore, activity-based costing uses more allocation bases than allocation bases that are used in the traditional costing. The allocation bases that used in activity-based costing are volume measures plus other bases, while for traditional costing, it usually relies solely on volume measures. Activity-based costing uses volume as well as other allocation bases not related to the volume of production. Besides, the most commonly used allocation base in traditional costing is direct labor hours, and direct labor hours only work well when overhead increases as direct labor hours increase. There are not all overhead costs are related to volume measures like direct labor hours. Last but not least, for activity-based costing, products are charged for the cost of capacity they use, which is not for the cost of capacity they do not use. Unused capacity costs are treated as period expenses. On the other hand, for the traditional costing, the predetermined overhead rate is based on budgeted activity. This results in applying all overhead costs, including unused or idle capacity costs to products.
Hi everyone, my name is Tan Singan and my metro number is 286619. I will do the conclusion for our group assignment. In conclusion, activity-based costing is a costing method that assigns the cost of each activity to all products and services based on the actual consumption of each activity to identify the activity in the organization. In this group assignment, we found out that the advantage of activity-based costing are provide realistic cost of manufacturing specific products. Besides, it also allows you to evaluate the efficient productions and do the improvement. Furthermore, it also can determine product profit margin more accurate. Moreover, it also allows to assign the specific overhead cost to more expensive products. Last but not least, it also provides the insights of analysis of customer that directly affect the probability of a firm, such as distribution channel, brands, region, and others areas. In this good assignment, we also found out the disadvantage of activity-based costing, such as the activity-based costing cannot easily access the data because we need to calculate the activity cost. Besides, we also compare the activity-based costing with the traditional costing, such as activity-based costing use more allocation base, but traditional costing use few allocation base. This tooling is the article that we refer for our group assignment topic, which is benefits and advantage for activity-based costing. That's all for our